6 upside areas in this one. The first was using Airbnb to squeeze some money out of an existing property, created a $31,500 upside. Second, buying an investment property with the property growth upside plus the tax benefits coming in at $36,300 a year. Then setting up some kids investments, just over $5,200 of annual upside, better understanding tax deductions and maximizing these, $9,400 a year. Moving existing investments to an investment bond, $73.50 a year. And the final one, choosing a lower cost index fund superannuation option, $4,250 of annual savings. So this lady had just gone through a relationship breakdown and was looking to get things back on track. She knew that she had a solid base to work with, but she really didn't understand the rules. Her partner had been driving most of the finances in the past, so she really didn't know where to start. She got introduced to us by a mate of hers who was a client, and from the first conversation, the upside became pretty clear to both of us. Her income was $210,000 a year. She was saving $31,500 a year, so saving at a reasonable clip, and had a decent chunk of cash and a share portfolio behind her to work with, alongside this lifestyle property that she'd got through the separation. So revisiting these strategies, the first one was big around the Airbnb upside. So she had this property, it was being used as a lifestyle property and was a lovely thing to have, but wasn't making any money and was literally just sitting there. So simply by whacking that sucker onto Airbnb, she managed to squeeze an extra $30,000 plus in rent out of that asset. That extra income that she was getting then allowed her to borrow more money from the bank and then go and buy another investment property, which created some pretty significant tax savings and upside from the property itself. She also had a big chunk of cash that had been sitting there earmarked for her kids. She wanted to save and set up their future, but it was literally just sitting there in cash. And her kids were pretty young, so we knew that the money was going to sit there for a fair whack of time. She decided to invest the money and then got some immediate upside as a result. For her existing share portfolio, she switched that over to an investment bond. What that does is that it caps the tax on the income generated from the investments, maximum rate of 30%, which is way below her marginal tax rate. So that created a pretty significant saving. But because the money was there to create a passive income for her for the future, it meant that with an investment bond, if you hold your investments for 10 years or more, you don't pay any capital gains tax at all. So there was even more of an upside to come. One other one that it's a real frustrating one for us to see, but when people don't understand what they can claim in terms of their tax deductions, then they don't keep the records, then they're not able to claim them, and it means that your ATO donation ends up being way more than it needs to be. She got a better understanding of the tax rules and realized that she was missing out on claiming a bunch of things, immediately started keeping better records, almost 10 grand of tax deduction savings from that one. And then a really simple one that she switched her super fund over to a low cost index super fund, was more aligned with her investing goals anyway, probably better performance, but she was in some fund that had been set up by her employer, was charging way more than she needed to pay for fees. Now, the strategies combined here created almost $100,000 of annual upside, 95 grand just over. So not only did it really accelerate her investing, but it allowed her to set things up in a way so that she was going to be able to provide for her kids in the way that she wanted for the future.